Hello everybody, here we are, and time to start working on the project again, and probably we will be refactoring it as well. It's been pretty long time having the things refactored, so we may be doing that. Having said that, the main focus is gonna be implementing on more features, so that once we have them, we can just refactor it at once. So this is how the plan is. This is what the plan is right now, but let's see how it's gonna be going on. So here we are. I hope everything's audible. I'm audible or not? Hello, hello. Can you hear me? I hope. Alrighty, so let's just simply get started. Yesterday I worked on a few things too, like at night, and of course I wasn't live while working on that. But yeah, a few more things have been just simply added to this project. Coming back to this, we have to just simply restart this bun dev and dash b cd apps/web bun dev. So let's just start it because it's gonna take some time to compile the things too. So overall, we are done with the basic setup, and now we have to work on some of the more things. Like, they are not gonna take a lot of time, so we can just simply get them done really quickly. So localhost 3000/canvas. I think it should be board actually, or editor, anything. But we'll see. We'll name it better later. And the next thing that I actually want to focus on, that is implementing the actions, because I worked on layer section yesterday, so that is working on right now. So there's only action section remaining, and inside actions we have the copy, duplicate, delete, and link. As for link, let's not worry about it right now, we'll take care of it later, but at least these two things can be implemented. And delete is something that is sort of already implemented. We have to just simply call the function here. As for duplicate, we'll have to do something or the other. So coming back to this, if I go to not order, that should be the part of hook, right? We had delete, right? And that actually part of shortcuts, if I'm not wrong. So handle key down if that's we are deleting the shape in here. So this is how it simply goes. Okay, delete shape, and this is how the shape is actually being deleted. How about where to keep the deletion file, or whether should I actually create a good one? Let me just take the screenshot. I'm gonna take the help of AI in this, so that we have the files in a structured format. So where to keep files related to what? Delete, duplicate, and all. I think this should still go to the what? I don't know. Actually, I have to have a look at this. Editing. Use delete, use duplicate, use copy, use group shapes, use log shapes, and then use bring to front. That's interesting. So use send to backward and all these things if needed. Order is definitely there. So ultimately I need to have something called editing. Editing, we are sort of editing that, aren't we? The main things are deleting and duplicating. Delete, duplicate, copy, paste, group, ungroup, log, flip, align, distribute. These many things can be there. Okay, let's go with the editings then. But editing doesn't really make that much sense. Use delete shape. So we are not favorite. Use delete, duplicate shape, copy. Yeah, that is what I want. They are nothing but the actions. So I can go with this, like some of the actions that are actually being done. And even here, this actually comes under action, right? So we can just, okay, I named it layer, so I have to fix this too. So if I actually go to the actions, this should actually be actions in here, and all kinds of actions are gonna be here, so that's gonna be good if I'm not wrong. Coming back to the hook right now, I have appearance, so that's just simply changes everything related to the appearance. Interactions, shortcuts, and this is how it just simply goes. I'm gonna have actions right here, and in the actions, what should be the name of the file? Okay, that can be like this, use delete shape. Why am I facing the network issue? Anyway, continue. I shouldn't be facing that. So let's go to the shortcuts dot this, and over here we have delete shape, and it is just deleting this way. So ultimately it gets what? Whenever we are deleting, so it deletes the selected shapes. So I need to have this function there. Anything else? Then I need to import it, and that is it, because this particular function is actually gonna be used at many places, so I'd better have it there. Got it. So what I'll do, that is in here, export default function, use shape delete, and from here I'm gonna be returning that particular function. So of course I'll return something when it comes to returning, so I'll be returning this function. So let's go here. Probably in future I may have more logic, so for that thing it's good to have it here. Shapes, use set shapes, that's fine. Use shape IDs and invalidate. I think we are getting these things directly from the editor, right? So you select setup. Yeah, that's problematic. So let's do one thing. Const, that's better. Set shapes, use set shapes, this is good. Const set selected shapes IDs, use set selected shapes IDs. We have to get invalidate, so const renderer, use canvas renderer, and this thing needs to be here, and this delete needs to be returned from here. So sort of done. Coming back to this one, right now it's gonna be use shape delete. So const shape use shape delete, just like this. I'm gonna be getting rid of these two, and shape use shape delete, we are returning delete shape, that should be returned like this. So over here I'm gonna get the delete shape, I can get rid of this, and we are just simply calling this delete shape in here, and that is it. Okay, pretty simple one. And once this is done, so at least save deletion should work. Let me see if we are actually able to delete the shape. Yes, we are able to delete. Now we have to delete the shape. First of all, even just a sec, Excalidraw.com. So if I click on it, I don't really get that delete option. So the action should appear only when I have selected shapes. So first of all, let's change the UI part. So actions.ts, this should appear only when I have selected shapes. So if const selected shapes IDs, use selected shape IDs, and now what I have to do, if selected shape IDs, come on, see, selected shape IDs dot length, if that's greater than 0, if that's triple equals to 0, in that case I have to return from here, and in the remaining case it should be just rendered, right? So that should be fine. So now I'm not getting the layer action section anywhere, but once I click the image I'm getting that. So that's what I wanted. Second thing is the deletion, so let's just simply work on that. So when it comes to deletion, so we have these things, right? Let's have few values here as well. Value, on the basis of the value I'll be calling them. First one is gonna be duplicate, second one is gonna be delete, third one is gonna be link. Alrighty, and once we have it, so I'm gonna be calling a function here, const handle actions click. Shape actions click. I'm gonna be getting the data here, that's gonna be properties data type. Once I have the data, then I'll be doing something or the other, and this function is actually gonna be called in here, so I will be getting the data. Once this particular thing is done, so I'm actually gonna have a switch statement over here. If I have data dot value, in that case I have a switch statement in here, so data dot value, if that's equals to duplicate, then do this. I'm just simply gonna call that particular hook depending on the need. If that's equals to delete, then this will run, and if that's equals to link, this particular section is gonna run. Having said that, now I need to get delete that, right? So to delete that, const delete use shape delete, and from here I'm gonna get delete shapes, and if I call it here, that is it. So if I go to this particular delete shapes, it invalidates automatically, should be doing the job. So I selected it, I clicked on delete, and it is deleted. Similarly, I can select actually many shapes. For that sake, I can actually get many, and we can change the designs and all. That's completely up to us exactly what kind of design we want and all. Okay, so suppose we have this, and once we have this, so we can just simply click one and we can delete. We can select more than one and we can delete. We can just go back as well, so let's go back. We can select it all. Are we able to resize it well? Yeah, sort of, everything's being done. And not only that, if I just simply keep it here, so this one is let me change the color of this. So right now this is somewhere at the bottom, so I can select this and I can bring it at the top, I can bring it at the bottom, I can bring it forward, I can send it backward. So this particular thing works, and at the end of the day I can delete that. Great. So this particular thing is working. Apart from this particular thing, the next one is the use let's get another action. That's gonna be use duplicate shape.ts. so we have to duplicate the shape. Let's copy the things, if they can actually be used in here, we'll see. So this is gonna be use duplicate shapes, use duplicate delete shape, duplicate shape, that's fine. And okay, coming back to this, we are getting shape shapes over here. We are getting we have to duplicate, right? So we need to have selected shape IDs as well. We have invalidate, so duplicate shape. Now when it comes to deleting, we are able to delete many. Let's name it as shapes, actually that would be better. So use delete shapes. We are gonna be, which name is better? Let me ask AI regarding this. Use delete. It is already using shapes in here, so let's just simply rename it to shapes, because we are gonna be deleting many shapes as well, right? So for that thing the name should be right. Coming back to this one, we have delete shapes already over here, that's sort of good. And coming back to this one, duplicate, this should actually be shapes. Now when it comes to duplicating shapes, so we have to duplicate the selected shapes, right? And then we created an array, what set, using the selected shape IDs. After that we have to duplicate them, duplicating them in the sense adding them in the array again, but their coordinates should be changing, so not just directly. Rather what I will do, that is I have selected shape IDs, then I have this selected one. So let's do one thing. If selected shape ID is length 0, then return. Otherwise const selected shapes, and selected shapes are gonna be shapes dot I don't really have shapes. Okay, so let's just simply get that. So that's gonna be somewhere here. Const shapes gonna be use shapes like this. Once we have the shapes, so shapes dot filter, come on, shapes dot filter, I'll get shape if selected has shape dot id, that simply means that there is a selected shape, there are selected shapes. Once we have selected shapes, then we have to update them as well. So selected shapes dot map, then I'm gonna be getting the shape. Once I get the shape, now I have to increase the coordinates, x and y coordinates, by few points or something. So what I have to do, that the shape that I'm actually getting, I'm gonna be destructuring that, and x is gonna be shape dot x plus duplicate offset. Yeah, so let's have a constant here. Where is that constant? Come on, there are so many things I can't even see. Here it is. And we have tools, we have history, image, colors, canvas, eraser. Probably we need to have something called shape. Or let's have actions, export, const duplicate, drag, duplicate, offset. Let's keep it 10 is actually too much. Let's keep it 5 and see how it's gonna look like. Coming back to this, duplicate offset, same thing is gonna be for y is gonna be shape dot y plus duplicate offset. Once we have done this, we have the selected shapes. Those selected shapes are gonna be added at last. So when we are setting the shapes, in that case, come on, set shapes, and I'm gonna get the previous shapes. And once I have the previous shapes, so I have to return all the previous shapes. So an array is gonna be returned, and okay, never mind, all the previous shapes are gonna be returned, and the selected shapes are also gonna be returned from here, so that it becomes the part of set shapes. And selected shapes IDs, now how it works, suppose we have shapes here, a few of them, I duplicated them. So once I duplicate, the remaining the next ones are selected. Interesting. That simply means set selected shape IDs is gonna be selected shapes, new selected shapes, the one that we got after filtering. So just a sec here, we had shapes, right? Then I filtered those shapes. After that I am mapping through them, creating, so ultimately new shapes are getting created. So we have selected shapes, and now dot map shape we have, right? So we just have one shape dot id, that is it. So the selected shapes, or I can say this is gonna be new selected or duplicated shapes. So when we are setting, this is gonna be duplicated shapes, and duplicated shapes, we will be just simply getting the id and invalidating it. That is it. So now if I come back here, and try duplicating this, well, I haven't even implemented it yet, we just have the logic, right? So to implement this, let's go to the actions.tsx, and this time I need to get one more, that is gonna be const. It's actually use shape delete, interesting. No suggestions. In that case, use shapes delete or delete shapes. Use delete shapes. This is the name. Use delete shapes. Use duplicate shapes. Delete shapes. Come back here. Use delete shapes, and use duplicate shapes. Duplicate shapes. And now this actually needs to be called, just right here. That is it. So it will be duplicating the shape. So select that, click on this, and now that's duplicated. And id is the same. I need to have new id. Just a sec. Duplicate shapes. In that case, the shapes that I actually got, it should be getting a new id altogether. So id is gonna be uuid v4. So import v4 as uuid v4 from uuid. Once we have this, so uuid v4, I'm just gonna be calling this. So ultimately it will have new id itself. Now if I click on this, click on duplicate, now this is duplicated. Come on, let's duplicate it again, and we have this new duplicated shape. We even have the previous one, we have the new one. We can select it all and we can duplicate everything at once, and this way we have them. We can change the colors of all these, and so they are gonna be completely different one. We can again keep them aside. So this way it just simply works. One thing that is there, that is right. So instead of keeping it 5, let's keep it 10. Let's keep it 10. So suppose this one I have here. Let's delete it all. Okay, and we have this particular shape, and I want to duplicate it. So let's click on this. It is duplicated like this, and that's what I wanted. Didn't I? Interesting. And of course we can, once this shape is on the top, we cannot select the previous ones, so we can just simply send it backward. Actually backward, so that the previous shape actually comes at the top. So this particular thing can easily be done, and that is why I have this particular functionality in here. Great. Works well. Does it work for a text? Hi there. It should be green, it should be extra large, it should have this font size, and that is it. That should be enough. Now what do we want? We want to duplicate it, and turns out yes, we are able to duplicate this. Let's keep it this color with this font size. Let's duplicate it again. Let's give it this color with the this font size. So we have 3 font sizes right now. Later I'm gonna be adding more, but as for right now we have these 3 font sizes, and we'll see what happens later, right? And even we can zoom in, zoom out, we can pan here and there. That is the most common thing ever. We can click on this 70%, it will be back to the same level. So yeah, we have sort of many functionalities now. What's the next thing? Even we can select it all, and suppose this is selected, we can change the opacity. So if in case if you want to change the opacity, so that can actually be done either just for a shape or many. It's completely up to you, but even this thing can be done. Rotation is something I haven't implemented yet, so we are gonna be working on it very soon. And yeah, that is it. So this particular thing is done. What is the next thing? We are able to duplicate, we are able to delete. Yes, deletion is working. Now let's delete it when I click on the shape itself. So suppose I clicked on the shape, so we have to cut, copy, paste. These other things are there, but 2 things that we can quickly work on, that is the duplicate and this delete option, right? So let's just simply work on these 2, and then we'll see what happens next. At least this can be done really quickly. So to work on that, we have to go to, what is this now? If I click on it, this is the canvas context. So once I go to the context, not this one, okay, context menu we have here. We have what text editor, not this one here, context menu, and we have context menu. We have canvas context and selected shape context. What do we want? Because they're different. Canvas context looks like this. So we have these many things here. Again, all of them need to be implemented. And shape context looks like this. So if we actually hover over one more thing, why isn't the shape being selected? Just a sec. When I click on that, the shape should ideally be selected. Yeah, the shape is selected when we click, even if there is a right click. So when we click, that is ideally selected, right? That's just not visible. Okay, is the context key. Got it. So I need to go to the canvas.tsx, and whenever I am right clicking, then we have the context menu. Use context menus. If I go to hooks, canvas, use context menu, and we have open context menu, and we are opening that. We have close, we have open context menu. Okay, that's fine. It's not about opening the context menu, it's about selecting that, setting that as the ID. Let me see. So prevent default viewport client to canvas. We are getting the point where we actually clicked, after getting the point, clicked in selected area. So if selected shape's length is greater than 0, then we'll be checking for the group, otherwise we'll check for a single shape. So once we actually clicked inside the area, so we are setting the menu. What is this now? Set menu does what? We have this menu, we have open, we have X, Y, and clicked inside the area. Okay, that is fine. So we are just simply setting the menu, and that is it. Just setting the menu, that's it. How about setting the selected shape IDs? Because over here, if hit shape is true, clicked inside this, and we are just simply adding this selected shape IDs here as well. So just a sec. Click the inside the shape. Coming back to this. Arey bhai, one step back. I'm not able to click. Okay, that's fine. Let's change the color. Now we are that part is not running. Why is that so? Let's check. CLG. Clicked. We even clicking, I don't have it. Just clicked, right? Interesting. Once clicked, I'd like to check this now. Why it started working now? Now it's not working. This is insane, yaar. Earlier it wasn't, now it is working. Great, so we just simply clicked this. Once we clicked this is getting called. Let's check out this thing. We are still clicking. Great. Once we are still clicking, if it is greater than 0, it should be greater than 1. Length can be greater than 1, then only that can be multiple. Let me paste it in here. Clicked is getting called. That simply means this particular statement is running. Why is this running? Selected shapes IDs dot length. Do we have many shapes selected? We have only one, and right now we don't even have any. So if that is greater than 0, so do this, and if there's no selected shape, get this. We are just simply clicking, right? So this one is getting called. CLG selected shapes IDs dot length. Two shapes are here, but where? That's the insane thing. One shape is there. One shape is here. Clicked inside the shape. Clicked inside the shape. clicked inside the shape, clicked inside the shape. So now we are clicking inside the shape. Once we are clicking inside the shape, set selected shape IDs, we are not invalidating it right here. Set menu is okay, but once the shape is selected, we need to invalidate it, right? So do we have invalidate in here? So as soon as we set the selected shape ID, we have to invalidate. And if we actually click in the selected area, then we'll be doing this. If we did not click, then we'll be doing this. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's try it. Now it is actually getting selected, doesn't matter where we click, and that's what we wanted. Okay, so this part is done. And once this particular part is done, what is the next thing? The next thing is click on this. Then the next one is cut, copy, paste. These are the actions. Great. We have duplicate and we have delete. Duplicate and delete, they are already ready, so let's just simply focus on them. Then we'll be focusing on some other ones. So if I go to context menu only, and that's gonna be selected shape context menu. So we have these many things here. Let's focus on the delete one. So this is the delete, duplicate, and delete. These two ones we have here. So what I'm actually gonna do, that's pretty simple. Get both here. So const use delete shapes. Use duplicate shapes, delete shapes, duplicate shapes, and that is it. Call them here. So on click, delete shapes. It cannot be called directly. Can it be called, or should it be called? Delete function should not be called directly. This is a function. So until unless I actually click on that, so it should not be called. Let me see if I keep it directly in there. Delete shapes, that's the function. Okay, it turns out that that function isn't really taking any value, so calling it like this will be fine as well. Delete shapes on click. When should we call a function like this? Call a function like this when, just a minute, when should we call a function directly inside on click instead of first one is that when you have to send the values. A good rule of thumb is if function already has the correct signature for the event, pass it directly, otherwise wrap it inside a callback. Pass the function directly handle delete selected shapes. That's what we are doing. And if it needs some IDs and also just pass it. Got it. So that's fine. So it just simply deletes it. One more thing we could do here. Selected shapes, and yeah, they are different ones. Okay, fine. So we have this, and let's go with this one as well. On duplicate, on click, duplicate shapes. So we are duplicating them, but how about closing this? Because we have to set the value of this open to false. So we have to take care of this thing as well. Context menu, canvas context. Okay, the value of this is actually saved globally. So this open and close logic is completely different from delete, right? So we have to have it inside the context itself. So the context that we have, this selected shape context, over here only I have to decide, right? So handle doesn't matter what we have. Once that particular thing is done, it should be closing. Handle delete click, and once we have this, handle delete click, delete shapes, and let me have the same for duplicate as well. Duplicate click, duplicate shapes, and once we have them, so the next thing that we have to do, we have to change the value of this open, and for that thing we have close context menu. So we can just simply call this right here, close context menu. Just calling this should be enough. That is it. Let me see. We clicked on this, we duplicated this, that is closed. We have this, we can change the color of this, we can resize this, and the job is done. Same thing can be done with this as well. Okay, we clicked on this, we deleted this, so that's gone as well. So yeah, it's sort of working. We still have to work on some other functionalities. I'm just simply gonna, I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm just gonna be, yeah, so I'll be back in 5 minutes. Let me set a timer, and then we'll continue from here on. A quick break. Alright everybody, here we are. Hopefully everything is up and running right now. Yeah. So let's just simply continue from here on. So what is the next thing that we can actually work? So the next thing could be cutting it, copying it or pasting it. Interesting. Log, how does it work? Let's talk about this first. So if I click on any shape, if I lock it, what does that mean? That simply means that you cannot do anything with that as such. Like you cannot even, wow, interesting, good to know that. We will be implementing this for sure, lock feature, and then you should be able to unlock it too. Not a bad thing to have. So yeah, that can be done. Then coming back to this first in our section, we have deleted lock, will take some time to implement. Flip, I'll be skipping this section as for right now, because for flipping I'll have to change my main logic, the way I'm just simply rendering them. So yeah, we'll skip it for now. And copy styles and paste styles, that can be done. Cut, copy, paste can be done. Wrap in a frame. Now let's do one thing, keep all these things aside. Let's work on this wrap in frame and group option section first of all, because this is something I actually want to work on. It is a little bit I don't know, this is the first time I'm going to be working on it, so let's see how it's going to be going on. So even we'll have to know how we can implement this first of all. But what is actually happening, that if we have a shape, when we click on this, so does it have more options than I have? It has send backward, forwards, these things, and probably I forgot to have that. Yeah, it's okay, we'll add that anytime in future, not really big problem. Or let's add it right now. So ultimately we add to library copy styles, it needs to have, and before this copy, and let's have one more separator here. Once we have one more separator here, we'll have one. So the first one is gonna be send backward, send backward, send bring forward. These four we'll have here. Second one is actually gonna be bring forward, then we have send it to back, and then we have bring to front. As for the shortcuts, I haven't really worked on shortcuts yet, but we are gonna be working on them soon. Control plus and the remaining ones. The first one is gonna be backward, this shift plus this, and shift plus this. Alrighty, so this is done. So if I check the result right now, so the result actually looks like this. Over here we have these options. That's okay, later we are gonna be making it better. Don't focus on the UI much. We'll make the UI good looking later. As for right now, let's simply work on the features. And when I click on them, so even it needs to be up here, right? Is there any better way to do it? Better way, because I'm calling this context menu over and over. Is there any way so that I just call it once and the job is done? in that case I'll have to pass the value as well. That would not be the best way. Okay, let's continue with this only. So we'll create a few function in here and we'll just assign it to the on click handle and let's handle them one by one. So the first one is gonna be handle send backward click handle bring forward click and handle send to back click, and lastly bring to front click. Okay, let's just simply create these functions. So const handle send to backward click, this is the first one that we have in here. Const handle we have bring to forward, bring forward click, const handle send to back click, and lastly bring to front, right? So const handle bring to front click, just like this. And what do we have to do? We already have the functions ready. So there is a hook. What is that hook? Const order is gonna be use shape order, and from here I'm just simply gonna call it. In all we have to close the context menu. Later I may figure out a better way, but as for right now let's continue with this. And order dot, we have these options. So order dot, what do we have to do? We have to send backward, this is the first thing. Order dot bring forward, not front, bring forward, then order dot send to back, order dot bring to front. Alrighty, this thing seems to be done. And now if we try checking it, thankfully this is that. Okay, suppose we have it here, and let me go to pictures. This one needs to be deleted from here. Going ahead, so once we have it, so what I actually want, I want to send, I need to have one more. This is gonna be that. Now if I click on this and send backward, it goes, click on that again, send it to back, send it to bring forward, bring to one more time, it is back to front, and send to back. So if it is send to back, that simply means it is here. Interesting. When we click on that, that actually comes at the top. So that is obvious that once you select the image and if you start drawing that will come on the top, because we have two layers of the canvas. We have the scene layer and we have the overlay layer. As soon as we resize the shape, so the overlay layer starts working or move a shape. That is why we are actually able to see it at the top of others when we are actually moving it. So just like that. So yeah, that is working. That's what we want to try. What's the next one? Get the image. Okay, so what I was just simply saying that instead of working on these features, because they are easy to implement, so we can work on them anytime. What I want to work on, that is the group and the frame section. That is a bit trickier. So coming back to this one, it only has the wrap in frame option. Once it is actually wrapped in a frame, so it sort of looks like this, that there's gonna be a frames border. You can just simply resize that, and whatever comes in the frame, that all those things are gonna be part of only one frame, just like this, until unless you actually select the image and then move that. So ultimately framing means having an area, so that if something is part of that particular area, if something is that in that area, so that should follow, that should be sort of grouped together. And then if we resize it, so when we resize, we just resize the shape, we do not resize these things as such. But when we move, so we move them together. So frame has only one benefit. Even we can have enter the name in here. So even this is something we have to focus on, so that we actually have a name here and at the end. Let me go to one more board and see. There is something called group as well. Now we have to know what's the difference between them. So here we have, suppose this is the one. If I click right on it, so we have change order. It actually looks like this. This is even better. We might be getting the UI inspiration from here as well. Anyway, the thing is that we can create a figure, we can group them. So group selection, so grouping is like this. So in group you cannot really click on the shapes now anymore. In group you can resize them as well. This is the first thing. Let's try creating selection. So this and probably this, and not a selection, a frame. So this is the frame. In a frame you can select the shapes, you can move them here and there, and you can select the, and again you cannot select the frames directly, rather once the frame is actually wrapped, then that's going to be selected, or you click here, then that's going to be selected. So this is the first thing, and once you even selected that, you can resize the frame. Okay, so which thing should we work on first? Even you should be able to change the name. So changing the name either directly from here, and again when we double click on that, then this actually works fine. And when I actually clicked this, copy link of the frame, export selection, we can export a particular selection as well. So when we select a shape, select a figure, so once we change the coordinates of that particular figure, all the other shapes coordinates will automatically be changed. That's fine, understandable. Okay, so let's focus on the group first of all, this one, and then later we are gonna be implementing figure. Of course we can work one thing at a time, right? Now the question is, how are we gonna be working on this group section? So first of all, once shapes are selected and I just group them. Grouping them means what? We have shapes array where we have all the shapes. The important thing is that those shapes have their IDs, respective IDs. right? It actually has more properties, but important thing is the ID because we want to group them. So this is first thing is done. Now when we group, so this group is gonna be altogether an object. So if I'm not wrong, actually an array. So I'll have a groups array like this, and that groups array will actually have many objects, and those objects, if one of them will have the, let's keep it simpler, it would be better to just simply keep it like this. So anyway, it will have the group ID, come on, group ID, and grouped shapes, as simple as that. That's gonna be an array again, and that array will have the IDs of the shapes whichever are grouped. So IDs are gonna be here. So shouldn't we do it like this? Let me see if it will work. So we have the shapes. As soon as I clicked on this, I already, suppose I have the groups array, and this groups array will also be state, rather the global state actually, and that's actually gonna be saved in the database as well. So I'll make it a global state that's gonna be shared across the components or the hooks. That is fine. And once this is done, then as soon as I select and suppose I create a group, so I randomly create a group ID. So ultimately I create a group ID because I created a new group, and all the shapes ID should be set here. This is the first thing. Second thing is that if I actually draw another image, will that be part of this or not? Suppose I give this here. How about the group? No, another image cannot be part of this. So if I actually want to make another image part of this group, so first of all I will have to ungroup the selection. Once the selection is ungrouped, then I can group selection again. So this is how this simply goes on, as simple as that. Hopefully it makes sense. Now let's work on this. So first of all, what do we have to do? We have to select the shapes. That is easy, we can do that. Suppose we have few images. This is our board. So we selected the images shapes. Now we have the selected shapes IDs. Again, this is the new feature, so let's do one thing. I don't know what's gonna happen next, so commit everything, that would be better. Get status, git add commit, and what delete actions. Alrighty, done. So let's just simply start working on this. Okay, one more thing we need to have, that as soon as I right click on it, I should be getting that option, right? Then only I can do it. So I'm gonna be following this way. So click on the, we have cut, we have paste, we have duplicate, we have select all even. Here selecting all means all the ones are gonna, it's easy, selecting all can be implemented easily. We may be going with this format. I like this one even better. Instead of having many options like the way we have it here, so many options, we can actually categorize them, right? So that it doesn't look quite a lot. We'll be working on it anyway. So coming back to this, first of all, let's just simply have the option to click. Later we can work on the UI part. So if I come back to this, and we are getting ungrouped, and if that is not grouped, so we are getting grouped. So we even have to take care of this thing. Again, the UI part will be done later. And let's go to the editor, components, properties panel. And in the properties panel, not properties panel, of course, let's go to the canvas context menu and selected shape context menu. Over here, probably just let's have it here, right here. Okay, we are gonna be having group selection, and second one is gonna be ungroup selection. Ungroup selection. Hopefully that's the same group. Ungroup selection. Yeah. Having said that, they should be in small letters. Alrighty. So this ungroup GROUP, that seems to be right. Okay. So we have done this much. What is the next thing? The next thing is that when you click on them, handle group selection, handle ungroup selection. Ungroup. Okay, that's fine. So we have these two. These are just the helper functions. Probably we will be keeping them somewhere else later. As for right now, that's completely fine. Const handle group selection. Let me add this word to my workspace so that I don't get that curly thing below. Okay, so we have done this much. What is the next thing? Once we are actually grouping, so first of all, this should only be visible when there are selected shapes. So again, making it visible and all, that's easy and can be okay. As for should we work on the UI part as well? Meaning, if I click on the shape, we should get shape group section, and once that is actually grouped, we should get ungroup section. So especially when I'm clicking on a shape, how would I know that is grouped or not? So ultimately, now onwards, even these shapes will have group ID as well, so that a shape knows which group it belongs to, so that when I click on the shape, I'm able to know whether it actually has the group ID or not. Let's check this thing out. Application, Excalidraw, and if I have any shape, then version, type, roundness, name, link, logged, false, and group IDs. Instead of passing the group IDs, I can just simply pass a group ID. Can a shape belong to many groups? Yeah, many to many relationship. Let's delete this. Why can't I delete this? So what is the problem here? That suppose I drew this, right? So now it doesn't have any group ID. Suppose I created a frame. So frame itself is an object. It's a type. Ultimately, it's sort of a shape. So that's gonna be the shape type. Interesting. So frame itself is the shape type, and we can resize that as well. And that is true, because that needs to be like a shape, then only you can resize it. And frame itself has its bounding box. It's insane. First of all, the shape has the bounding box. When you click on the frame, that has the bounding box. Again, one thing is great, that we know that we'll have to save the frame as a shape, and the type is gonna be a frame, the way it is here, and that's gonna be nothing but a rectangle, so don't worry, it's easy. And we don't have any group IDs, so let's do one thing, go one step back. I think now we cannot really do that, so probably I need to delete the frame now. Excuse me. So we have this, but this grouping related thing doesn't make any sense. I need to paste this clipboard. We are just getting the frame option. How about grouping it? So grouping it, we can create a personal library. Well, that's not the main focus on here. Come on, we are getting distracted. We have to work on this. We don't really have any group option directly in here, if I'm not wrong. And when it comes to this, I'm not sure they are storing. Are they storing the data locally or not? They are not storing the data locally for sure. And they have quite a lot of things. Store the data locally. Yeah, Excalidraw does, but it does not. So ultimately, let's check this thing out here. We have this shape. It let's create a group. So it is now it belongs to a. No, we cannot group one single. Interesting. So let's have two shapes, and now let's just simply group them together. So they are grouped right now. Now let's get two more, and let's group them together. So that's one group. This is the another group. Now if we just try grouping them, ungroup selection. Okay, so we cannot group two things at the same time. So that simply means one shape will belong to only one group at a time. Yes or no? Yes. So this is all about grouping. How about framing? So in group, what happens? One shape can only belongs to one group. In frame, suppose this is the first figure or frame that we have, and I created another frame. Suppose this is it. Clicking on this, I actually created a figure or frame, call it whatever. Now if I select this and do this, now what will happen? First of all, the layer of the frame will always be the bottom one. Can we that's already to the front side. So we are gonna have figure. Okay, having said that, we are not really worrying about the figure right now, but ultimately figure should be below the selected shapes. Okay, that can easily be done, not really a big problem. But ultimately what I mean here, no, this is possible. One figure can be inside another figure. But until unless that figure is completely inside that another figure. So in this way we can have many figures. Interesting. So when it comes to a figure, because we'll have to create a figure array as well. So one figure array could have many shapes or figures. Suppose I have an object, so in that object I need to have the frame ID, and it's gonna be supporting subframes as well, so it will have frames too. So ultimately a frame object will have three things. A frame object will actually have the ID, so ultimately frame ID, it will have shapes, and it will even have frames if there are. So it is like the way we comment, we can have sub comments, the same way we can have subframes as well. Interesting. So it is definitely gonna be a complex one, that is the first thing, but it doesn't mean that we cannot build it. Now the next thing that we have to let's stick to groups right now. So when it comes to group, one group can have other groups or not. No, it's not really possible for that to just simply have it. So one more thing that is here, when we select, only when we click on the border it gets selected, otherwise it doesn't. Right now we are selecting as soon as it just hovers over that. So probably this is something we need to work on. We actually need to work on this. When we select yeah, so the thing is that when we click on this, the kind of logic that's actually being used here, that's completely different than earlier. But okay, let's go with the current approach only. Whatever we have, we'll be just simply going with this. So one group cannot have many groups, that's the first thing. And so the overall way is gonna be sort of like this. We'll have shapes, shape will have a group ID, that group ID will contain the group other shapes IDs, and they are the ones that are grouped together. And when we change something, all of them need to be changed. Simple. Okay, now when it comes to group, so group is all together another, just a minute, let me see. When it comes to this group, it's not visible, only when we click then the group is visible. So it is the selection box only, right? But there is a difference. Usually selection box, they have tolerance, right? But this one will not have. And even we, of course, we can resize it. Okay, let's just simply work on one thing at a time, otherwise it's gonna be too much. Alrighty, so we have group selections, we have ungroup selections, and we are just simply doing it in here. When it comes to group, I don't think this is an element itself, so we do not really need to create an element, we just need to create a group array. So let's just simply do that. So when it comes to group array, so that's gonna be part of editors. We actually need to create a slice. We have shape slice. Next we need to create group slice. So group slice dot ts. I'd rather just copy a few things from here, and if they can be actually reused, let's go with this. So state creator editor store, we have this. this is gonna be this. As for editor store, it is gonna be picking these. So groups, here UPS groups and set groups. Let's get rid of these two, and I'll have groups, I have set groups in here, and state dot groups, and set selectors, set groups. And once this is done, let's go to the editor store right now, and just below the shape, groups, that's gonna, again we need to create a type for this. Let's give it any type for now, and set groups. I'll get an updater, that's gonna be a function as well. So the updater can actually be a function, can actually be a value. So updater, and interesting. The updater can that can have any. Let's create the type for it, that would be better. So when it comes to groups type, so let's create it right here for now. Later we'll export it. So type group, and it will have a ID. Let's name it. ID is gonna be string. It will have shapes. Right, it will have shapes. So it will have shapes, and that's gonna be an array of strings. Once we have this group in here, groups are gonna be array of group when we are setting it. So the updater can be that only. So group array, or it can even be a function. So the function will actually get the value of the previous shapes. So so the function will be what? I'm gonna be getting the previous values. That's gonna be group of this. Once I have the previous values, that just simply returns the previous values. That's what the function does. So group and this, and return the whole. What is the issue? Just a sec. Updater, there can be in the function, or then in the function there can be function itself, and the main function will be returning void. That's fine. This is how we just simply the thing is that I'm making it support getting the previous value. So whenever I call a setter, so I should be able to get the previous values, and that's why I'm defining the types. That okay, if either I can provide the values directly to set, or I can just provide a function. And what will that function do? That function will get the previous values and just simply return the values, and now after modifying it and all. So that's what this particular type thing does. And once we actually have the group here, so we have a store. So once we have the store, we should have the types as well. So const. Okay, this is nothing but a type list. That's fine. Happy to have it here. I can even export it from here in case we are gonna need it somewhere else. So this particular thing is done. Let's get rid of this. And we have groups. We have set groups, and create selection slice. This is gonna be create group slice. I think the last time I got selection. Okay, so create group slice, and what else? So stem group. Let's create the selector right now. Selector is gonna be used just for selecting. Probably I need to create a group.ts. Why do I have shape.ts and shapes.ts? Both are right. I'm just gonna have shapes.ts, and there can be many groups as well. So what do we have to do? Export const groups, use editor, store state dot groups, const export const set groups, use editor, store state set groups. So that is how we have to just simply go ahead. Alrighty, so we are just simply exporting it from here as well. And once we are actually exporting it from here, now the main thing starts. Close this, and over here handle group selection. So I actually need to create a hook so that it can actually handle that. So what all do we need to do? First of all, let's have some to-dos here. So handle group selection. So get selected shapes once we have them on the IH. Create group object and save it in groups. Push in groups. And what else? This thing is done. Add group ID to shapes. Invalidate, modify the logic of render. So we can just simply get them done one by one. I'm sort of hungry right now so let me go and have some food. After that I'll be back and continue from here on. And yeah, we will implement it. Today is the day to just simply work on the framing thing and this particular thing. Again, it's not like it can be done really quickly. It will take time, thinking, a lot of thinking, but then it can be definitely be done by the end of the day. Anyway, I'll be back after half an hour or something after having food, and then we'll continue working on this. Bye bye, take care, see you.